Good evening. Welcome back to Expert in Science. I'm your host, Raju Mandhian, and we are continuing the discussion of process-oriented progress for NGOs, non-profits, and people who do developmental work. We just finished talking to Srinivasan Narayanan of Assist.org, and now we have a living example who has made her passion a success and has been doing it for the last 25 years. My friend and mentor, Julie Esguerra Marvin, the founding director of Philippine Institute for the Deaf. Welcome to Expert Inside, Julie. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me, Raju.
Julie, tell us about first, 25 years ago, about PID. What is it first? You know, we have a little video where we show the kids from Philippine Institute for the Deaf, but 1 minute description of what is it?
It's the institution that teaches the deaf to speak and lip read so that they can pursue their dream careers and be self-reliant. That is PID.
And it's the only one of its kind?
It was the first, the pioneer.
Right.
But since I am the teacher trainer for all special education teachers in the Philippines, sometimes funded by DepEd, so there are many centers already being currently operating.
But prior to you starting this institute, did the world not teach the deaf to speak?
Yes.
Is that the correct term to
not
call?
the world, but the Philippines.
The Philippines did not teach the deaf to speak. What did they do with the deaf?
It's sign language system.
So thus, if you did not hear, you were not trained to talk.
Right.
And you were the pioneer and who did this.
No, I'm not the pioneer in the world, but I brought in the oral method to the Philippines.
Any idea on why it was not being done? Why were the hearing impaired or the deaf not being taught to speak?
It's because it's a new method. The first method was really the sign language method, created in the 1800s.
Right.
You know? So when experts and speech therapists and special education teachers formed this oral method, you know, they experimented it in Germany and then copied by America, and now we brought it here in the Philippines. So it's a difficult process, actually, because the deaf cannot hear their own voice.
So they cannot understand alphabets, language.
No, they don't.
The pitches and the pauses.
No, they don't.
So they don't know how to form a word because they don't hear it.
Yes.
And that's where you came in, no? So they use this.
Sign language, yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's first have a look at what we are talking about, because it's pointless to talk about something if you don't see it. So there's a 1 minute clip about children who cannot hear but can speak, and this is the impact that Julie Marvin has done in the last 25 years. So let's have that clip very quickly.
My name is Sammy Sariek. I hope to be a nurse someday. I'm Shiva Kalpate. I want to be a fireman.
My name is Akshan Ninja Abdiya. I'm going to be a basketball player someday.
My name is Jenny Puanto. I hope to be a ballerina someday.
Wow, that's heartwarming, really touching, no? So these are the kids that you have impacted, Julie.
Yes. One of them, Denise Limquando, who dreamt to be a ballerina, is now a ballerina. She realized
this little clip was how many years ago?
That was about 3 years ago.
That was 3 years ago, and she's now a ballerina.
She's now a ballerina. She's now a ballerina of Ballet Manila under Lisa Macuja, and she receives 19,000 pesos a month.
Being a dancer.
Being a dancer.
And she can't,
while
she can't hear.
She can't hear.
So how can she hear the music?
She memorizes steps, and you know, it should be on a wooden floor, so it vibrates.
Or she senses it, kinesthesia.
Yes.
She gets the feeling, no? So Julie, anyway, before we go into any individual's progress and success, no, like that ballerina, tell us what got you started, and what just made you decide that I am the person who will teach the deaf to speak? When did you make that major decision saying that I want to do this?
Yeah, I would say since I was 2 years old, when my mother was teaching in the lone deaf school in Pasay, and she would bring home her students, 2 or 3 of them, to be my playmates. So I played with deaf children. So right there from childhood,
Your mom was a teacher?
Yeah, of the deaf.
Yeah? And she brought home kids, and
yes.
you were 2 years old?
I was 2 years old, and then up to 5 or 6, we were playing together, and they taught me how to sign language, and I taught them how to speak a little, some words.
Right, right. And
right then, there, it began the friendship. And so my mother was sent to the Central Institute for the Deaf in Missouri for 1 year by the government, Philippine government, to learn about the oral method. So she first was the student of the oral method from
What was
America.
her name?
Esguerra.
So you're saying that you didn't start it, but your mom started it, and you just took on the baton and
yes.
ran with it
yes.
today, no?
Yes.
So your mom was around and alive when you started this 25 years ago?
Yes.
She was there,
yes.
and she said, start this for me, Anna.
Yes.
All right, so
I was a speech therapist in California, and then she kept writing to me to give my country another chance.
Yeah.
To come back here,
right.
and I did.
Okay.
And because of her prodding, and then we created a foundation, and she said she wants this as her legacy to the country.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, wait, that's storytelling, no?
Right.
I want to hear the meat of the thing. So you started this institute, it's been around for 25 years, and it helps the deaf to speak, no? So describe the journey. Describe how was it to start it. When we're talking about process-oriented progress or pedagogy, as the theme says, the journey of starting this, what were the challenges, what were the aspirations and the hopes, and where did you get the gumption and the material to start?
Oh, okay, that's a long story. But I actually started with one child. It was brought to my house by their parents, who are both deaf, cannot speak, and they were writing on a piece of paper to help their deaf child speak. Mm-hmm. And so they were poor, they were jobless, and so I started, it's a Sunday visit, so I told them to
just
come.
Out of the blue?
Out of the blue.
Right.
It was
so they were using vision for her to create an auditory output.
Yes.
But you've changed the method.
I've changed the method. So the child was brought to me, and he began talking.
Right.
And so the parents
How long did the...
well, about 2 or 3 meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, because the child, a young child, like 3 or 4 years old, when you open your mouth, they will imitate it. Ah, ooh,
right, right.
So they can imitate sounds.
Right.
And to my discovery, wow, this could grow. The sounds combined together can make a syllable, and the syllables can grow to words.
Very slowly. So I cannot hear, so I can imitate your sound by watching you.
Watch
or
me.
Sensing you.
Okay.
Sensing you, yeah?
Or if you cannot watch how my tongue, where my tongue goes up and down, left or right inside my mouth, then I will show it to you in a drawing. So
that's just replicating the physical movements of your face. I can produce that sound?
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
You can, so it's hello. So it's the same, that's how it is? Yes. Fantastic. We have one more clip of you, and you are citing this method. Mm-hmm. So again, one more time, let's line up that little clip of Julie teaching kids on, teaching non-hearing kids to speak. So one more, and then we'll ask you about how you are building PID. So let's line up that clip if that's...
Then the river Julie turned calm. That's when rivers run deepest, That's when we all seek an outlet. My son helped me to find mine.
Mama, this is my new friend Billy. He can't even say ball.
I knew he was deaf. My deep undercurrents led me to teach him. First, I showed him how to read my lips. Then, with a tissue paper, I showed him how to see the sound boom. Then he went towards the tissue paper and blurted, boom! I was glad I had a tissue paper.
That's you, Julie. So yeah. So now tell us about the journey from that point up. to today, where is Philippine Institute for the Deaf?
Well, I felt my soul really floated, and I thought God was using me, and it's a spiritual, you know.
How many kids have you impacted?
Oh, hundreds already. Maybe
hundreds of
thousands.
And how do you manage to do that? You don't do this single-handedly anymore.
No, I train teachers, okay, and then I do presentations to different corporations.
Right.
And sometimes I sit down with friends or business managers so that I could present to them the vision, and if they believe in the process of the oral method in empowering a non-hearing person to become like us, then they believe me, and they believe the presentation and the process, and they get involved.
So wait, you mentioned hundreds. In 25 years, hundreds or
no,
thousands? Thousands, because you said hundreds. I was
right.
thinking that's not a big reach.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying it's small, but it's still pretty big. So thousands over the years.
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
So what are your challenges currently now? Of course, you can't be doing this single-handedly.
Right.
You know? Even though you built a bunch of teachers together in the system, what do you want? And where do you go from here, Julie? Where does the Philippine Institute of Deaf go? How do you scale up?
Yes. We need a globally competitive, you know, facilities and tools and equipment, state of the art, which we don't have.
Right.
In America, it's supplied by government.
Okay.
Here, I have to tap corporations and philanthropies to be able to bring in the necessary tools.
Right.
So I go around town, I go around the whole country, and I really seek support from different organizations, civic organizations or corporations.
So coming from the earlier discussion which you were a witness to
Right.
just now with Srini, and Srini mentioned that that's the traditional method of getting funding and sourcing. Do you subscribe to his opinion, or do you have another perspective?
Oh yes, I believe in that, and I think that it was God sent that I met him today, because I have been looking for such a group wherein they could collaborate with us and then help us out finding the grants we needed.
Yeah. What has kept you in the last 25 years? Lack of awareness that this can be done, or was it not really?
Lack of expertise.
I
am a teacher, and I'm more focused, like 90% of my time, focused on training the teachers and seeing to it that the miracles are happening instead of finding the grants. So I need a partner, really. A person or a group.
Right. So he's right in doing what he's doing, and you are the relevant target, because there are hundreds of other people who are attending to other social and human needs, and they are just passionate about it, yet they don't have a structure and a system, no?
And the expertise.
So today, PID, how did it survive? Who have been your benefactors?
Well, we have a 15-man board of directors, and the 15-man board of directors, they have their own circles of influences, and so we help each other. We do annual strategic, you know, planning and all of these things, and then we have public awareness campaigns. And at the end of each fiscal year or school year, we present our work to the public, like in an annual musical production. The last one we did is the Little Mermaid, which is a standing ovation, SRO. So the public knows that the deaf can speak, and they will embrace them to be part of the community, and also the corporations who are sponsoring our event will do it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm seeing that you are putting in all the passion, you're doing all the training and competence building, and yet you have to prove yourself every year. Thus, you might be challenged. This is my assumption.
No, it's not proving myself every year.
No, proving the output.
We are presenting the outcome of the process. So it's process, outcome, philanthropy. That's what I always...
No, thus you're constantly challenged for resources, whether it's funds or talent or support. You're constantly challenged. Thus, you have to show your outcome every single year. But if this becomes self-sustainable, as Srini was talking about it, so you can take a back seat and still provide the inspiration and the vision, would that be the ideal future for you?
No, I don't think so. I cannot, in such an operation like this nonprofit, you cannot take a back seat, because the children will have unlimited ambitions. They need employment someday, so it's never-ending work. what I mean is you cannot take a back seat because you need to present the outcome so that the society can really embrace them as equal and not regard them as persons with disabilities.
I didn't mean that kind of an outcome. What I meant is you won't have to be hands-on in resource generation.
Exactly.
That's what I meant. Not the active part, not the passionate part. You'll still be hands-on on it. No? So cite us some success stories besides the little ballerina girl, something else that is powerful and heartwarming that is coming from
Well,
PID.
I have seen in Europe and in America that they have produced presidents, pilots, engineers, policemen, teachers who are deaf, hearing impaired. So now I'm beginning to see the dream also happening in our country that we can actually have a deaf doctor. I haven't seen that in the Philippines, but in America and Europe, they have doctors already in the operating room and saying to the nurses, I need a scalpel and give me the whatever. Okay? But when you're deaf, here in our country, they end up doing computer encoding work only. So it's so limited.
Non-challenging work. No? From the thousands that lives that you have touched, which is your most celebrated success story, if there is one?
Well, it's Denise Limcuando, the first deaf ballerina in the Philippines.
She's the one who's 19 years old today,
Yes, and also Jasper Ronquillo, who is the first architect in the Philippines, and also Liza Madeja, who is the first teacher teaching students in her classroom.
So how long does a student stay with you? A random average student, some probably might be more challenged.
Yes, the gifted ones would stay, for example, 3 to 4 years because their minds can master the language easily and quickly. But others with normal intelligences would stay with us until graduation of elementary or high school.
Oh, so it's a long-term relationship.
Yes, because language has patterns, and if you cannot hear the language, they won't be able to master it as quickly as we can.
So once they acquire enough competency on the mastery of communication, whether they speak Tagalog or English, how do you move them on to other subject matters?
Yes, we talk to the subject matter in the school, or we integrate them in regular schools. That's what we do.
How's that?
We talk to...
Oh, you integrate the kids into regular school?
Yes, immediately when they're ready.
Yeah, and
even if they're in grade 1 and they're ready, and they will not be laughed at, and they can really talk to anybody in the community, then they're ready for the integration.
Oh, so until and unless you don't feel safe that they can move on, you still hold on to them, no?
Yes.
How many teachers today, and how big is the whole enterprise?
We have 18 teachers, and we have about 60 to 70 students per school year. It's a small building given to us by President Fidel Ramos in 1992, and we hope we can have enough support and membership, corporate members who can give us the bigger building so we can reach out to these public school children who are deaf, learning through sign language. We can rescue them from their silent world.
Would it make sense to not just think of expanding your specific unit, but rather than duplicating it in the province or creating a...
We can do that too, yes.
So is that a probable
That's a probable,
aspiration?
yes. And we can talk to, I'm actually getting discussions with the League of Mayors, municipalities, so that we can
Those are
replicate.
strategies you're following.
Yes.
So Julie, tell me how does it feel today, 25 years later, and where do you go from here personally? Leave aside PID. How do you feel fulfilled, and where do you go from here personally, Julie?
Well, I think I will go until the end of the career of a deaf person, becoming so successful that they will even help normal persons.
Oh, that's your ideal
surpassing
dream.
us, you know?
That's your ideal dream, that one of your students turns around and
I will be in a rocking chair.
Bigger than you.
Yes, exactly.
Becomes bigger than you. That's a great
And I'm
dream.
dreaming to have the first Deaf Toastmasters Club.
Oh, what is that?
Deaf talking to each other. It's a public speaking club internationally.
Right.
And so I'm dreaming of all of these initiatives, and I wish some friends or people will join me.
Put together that initiative. Oh, it's a challenging thing to do, no, Julie? So besides PID, Julie, what else do you do? And share a bit of story from your past. I understand you have 5 sisters, and each one of you came from a very challenging past, and all of you are successful. So if you want to just announce the whole
well,
integration of the Esguerra
I was born
system.
to a very, very poor family.
Yeah.
And then my mother is a teacher, and my father is a security guard. Okay. And so my mother used to receive visitors, co-teachers and co-workers in our house, and she would introduce the children. And so she would say, Cynthia, the beauty queen, you know, and then Carol, the genius, Ellen, the movie star.
These are 5 sisters of yours?
Yes, four pretty sisters.
Okay.
And then Cherry, the ballerina, they're also pretty.
Yeah.
And they call me the ugly duckling.
Correct.
And so my mother calls my name.
I'm sorry, I don't mean correct. I mean, I hear you right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm used to it already.
Okay.
I've loved myself.
I don't mean correct that way. I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So introducing the 4 pretty sisters, when my mother came to my name, Julie, bring out the snacks. And I was nothing to talk about me.
So give me 2 more questions. Number 1 is then, in the last 25 years, being surrounded by these beautiful swans, you know, and being successful with PID, what has been the highlight of your life?
The highlight of my life?
And besides seeing the ballerina girl, etc., what has been the highlight? Have you been recognized for what you've done as the country turned around and said, Miss Esguerra Marvin?
Yes,
what was
the
that?
Department of Social Welfare, in our centennial celebration, 100 years of independence in the country, nominated me to be one of the 100 women who made a difference. Yeah. And I am so humbled receiving the award.
What would be your advice to other people who are passionate about making a difference, whether in with children or with women or with other challenges in life, like Srini was talking about? What would be your recommendation to them? How would you tell them to get started, and what are the steps you do?
Yeah, it's actually 3 P's, my formula. PPP, it's
like
preparation.
him, Srini also had PPP, Partners for Progress.
Right.
Yeah.
Me, it's preparation. You need to prepare. If you're passionate about it, you think of the process you're doing, because you're the only one passionate about it. You have to transfer the knowledge or the, you know, to other people. And then perfection. You have to perfect it in order to, you know, share it with the rest of the world. And then the performance. You have to be in constant perfect performance so that the products or the services are, you know, customer oriented.
So take my passion, convert it to a process, and then present it, perform it. So that means what I like, systemize it, take it to the market again and again. So if somebody has a desire to start out an NGO or some social need, so they must systemize it, structure it, and then take it to the market and again and again.
And let position paper,
and let people come back and say, we like what you do and we'll invest in that.
There
Fantastic.
You go. That's the formula.
So Julie, this is my individual social responsibility. What are your final tips for me before you say goodbye to my audience? So what can I do to improve what I'm doing?
Well, I don't know if I will have to say it here. I'm inviting you to to sit as one of our board of directors in the, you know, your vision of the handicapping communities in the country. Okay. You know, to empower them from poverty and helplessness. Maybe you can join me in the group.
All right, Julie, thank you very much. I'll consider that. So God bless you in the journey you are in, and you'll finish it well and with flying colors. I wish you the best. God bless you. So that was Julie Esguerra Marvin, who has helped the deaf for the longest time. And this has been Expat Insights. I'm your host, Raju Mandya. Next week on Expat Insights, we'll have 2 English people, 2 English people. They'll come back and correct me. And we will talk about loving the Philippines. One of them is a gentleman called Steve Guilford, and the other one is a lady called Hazel Stewart, who's been documenting some Filipino culture in Bacolod. So good night, mabuhay, and have a great week ahead of you. Good night.